If you've been thinking about adding Depop to your reselling business, this video is for you. Hey, and welcome back to the Flip Factory. I'm Trent, and today's video is all about Depop. I will say when I first found out about Depop, the name was weird to me. I'm 33, and so I'm old for the younger generation. I know I'm not really that old, but I always thought that Depop was this young person's game, that I would not fit into the niche style of Depop. It was all Y2K and vintage, and my reselling business really doesn't have that much vintage and Y2K. But boy, was I wrong. I first started selling on Depop at the beginning of 2025. I had my full inventory on another platform, and I decided to go ahead and cross-list some of my inventory over to Depop. I cross-listed about 30 to 40 items, and nothing sold for like a week and a half, and I immediately ended my time on Depop back in January of 2025 because I was so frustrated that nothing was selling. What I did was I figured it was a vintage and Y2K style, and that was the only thing that sold on Depop, so I only picked certain items to cross-list. Fast forward to November of 2025, and I had watched some videos on people saying, hey, you know, Depop is not just that young person's game. You can sell any items really on Depop. It's a very fast growing platform, and it's great for all brands and items and styles. So I decided to try again, and I am so glad that I did. I have been selling multiple items almost daily on Depop, and it hasn't really mattered what brands and styles because everything has been selling. I'm a full-time reseller on 4 different platforms, and I sell mostly clothing and shoes. And in 2025, I did just over $200,000 in sales. With Depop, I'm able to make an extra $300 to $400 every single month. At least that's what I've been able to do since November. And if you are a full-time reseller or a part-time reseller and you've been selling the last January and February, you know how rough those months have been on these platforms. And Depop has actually stayed consistent with that $300 to $400 averaging per month for me during those rough months. Today, I want to break down the best tips for selling on Depop in 2026 from my real experience. I added Depop as a platform that I sell on for a few different reasons. Number one is that it's an incredibly fast growing marketplace, one of the fastest in the US. Another reason is the 0 selling fees. That is unheard of in reselling today, and to be able to sell something on a platform like Depop and have no selling fees, just a small processing fee that comes out, is a huge advantage. It allows you to list items onto Depop at a lower price, or to do what I do, I list the items at the same price and I just boost. Depop offers promotional listings, and so I boost at 8%. So my selling fee is now technically 8%, even though I'm just paying for the boosted items that sell. And not every item that sells is boosted, probably about half or so. And I've also seen a big increase to my sales with the boosted items. And I'm still only paying an 8% selling fee, which is still so much lower than every other platform out there. Another reason, and this is probably the biggest reason, is it's an extra revenue stream. I think everyone would raise their hand if I asked the question, could you use an extra stream of revenue in 2026? I know my hand would go up, and Depop has done that for me. An extra $300 to $400 a month might not pay the mortgage, but it pays a chunk of it, or it pays for our car payment or other bills as well. It's a huge addition to my reselling business, and I'm so excited today that they've actually sponsored this video. So let's get to the tips for today's video. Tip number one, what actually sells on Depop? Like I mentioned earlier in the video, my initial assumptions were that nothing that I had, or very little of the brands and styles that I had, would probably sell on Depop. Since I sell a lot of golf polos, I sell a lot of windbreakers, I sell other more modern pieces. And I was wrong. I made the decision to list all of my inventory. Right now, I have almost all of it cross-listed from my other platforms to Depop. And so I have about 1,200 listings right now on Depop. What I found is that really every brand and every style sells on Depop. I went through my sold listings, and I'll even show them and scroll through them on my screen. And here are some examples of some of the stuff that I sold. Golf polos, hunting gear, fan gear like NFL, NBA. I sold a ton of Panthers items. I'm here in the Charlotte area, so I find a lot of Panthers stuff. Those things sell. Hockey jerseys, NASCAR pieces, Western wear, cowboy boots, wrestling shoes, all styles of jeans, Levi's, Wranglers, boot cut, straight fit, wide leg, all that stuff. Hoodies and even quarter zips, the more preppy stuff, also sells. That's not everything that sells. I just wanted to make a list quickly of the stuff that I've seen in my own store that has sold. That's like real life experience that I've noticed. And I've started cross-listing all of my inventory, not just those niche styles of 80s and 90s or Y2K, vintage, Carhartt kind of stuff. I do list those kind of things on Depop because they do sell really well on Depop. But I've also found that all of these other brands and styles sell well too. I found that on Depop, buyers find what they're searching for. It's a very search first and personalized platform. Tip number 2 is to develop a pricing strategy for Depop. Zero selling fees equals a strategic pricing advantage. You're able to list your items on Depop for lower than on other platforms. And because there's no selling fees, you're not losing any money when that item sells. Whenever I sell an item on Depop, I get excited more so than other platforms because I know that all of that item's selling price is going to me. Tip number 3 is to use Depop's pro selling tools. When I create a listing in Depop, I simply upload the images of the item and it automatically creates a title and hashtags to help sell that item even faster. The AI listing tool really allows for a faster workflow. Another really cool tool that Depop has recently added is the auto respond to offer tool. You can set a limit on what you would like to sell this item for, as high or as low as you want. When you list your item, you can set up the lowest price that you would accept in an offer. When someone makes an offer, if it's lower than your lowest price that you set, then Depop will actually counter with an offer that's acceptable. If it's at that price that you set or even higher, Depop will automatically accept that offer for you. This allows for way faster sales and also not as much time for you as a seller to be constantly having to communicate and reply to those offers. Tip number 4 is something that I'm going to be utilizing very soon in my store. I haven't tried this out yet, but I'm excited to see the difference that it can make in getting sales, but it's to offer discounted shipping. This is something that is completely optional. You don't have to do it, just like boosting one of your items is completely optional. You can also just list your items and have the sales come in that way. But I'm gonna try this discounted shipping program. Basically, you can discount your shipping by $1, $2, $3 and give the buyer a discount when they're going to check out, which should also boost sales as well. Again, the zero selling fees on Depop really helps to utilize those different discounts and boosted listings on Depop. Tip number 5 is cross-listing and what to avoid. Depop is very cross-listing friendly. I've cross-listed my entire store from my other platforms onto Depop, and I've had very few problems. In fact, I can't think of any problems that I've had with Depop and cross-listing to that platform. You do, however, want to avoid some categories, things like electronics, cutlery. They have a full list of items that are prohibited. That'll be linked in the description of this video. So who is Depop best for? First off, I think it's great for anyone that wants to make a little more money. That's why I started it. I wanted another income stream. I've started cross-listing all my inventory to these other platforms, and I decided to add Depop as well. And I'm so glad I did because I'm getting multiple sales every week, sometimes multiple sales every single day. So I couldn't be happier with Depop. If you're a clothing reseller and you are not selling on Depop, I really encourage you to get onto Depop. It's so simple to set up. It's so easy to get your items cross-listed and to start selling on Depop. Another reason why Depop is such a great platform to sell on is how easy they make shipping. Everything is shipped via USPS Ground Advantage, and it's so simple to print off their labels. They either email them to you or you can find them in the app, whether you're on a desktop or on your phone, and just print it off right there at home. You don't have to pay for those shipping labels. Depop takes care of buying those labels for you. You just have to put in what your package weighs before you just have to put in what your package weighs ahead of time. I've only been on Depop for 3 months and the difference is already huge. I'm really excited to see what the full year allows with selling on Depop, and I'm excited to also update the channel, the Flip Factory, on how Depop is doing come December, the end of the year. So stay tuned for more content about how Depop is doing. But I'm excited for it. Even in these bad selling months, January, February, February is kind of the end of the winter season. So no one's really buying jackets anymore. No one's buying ski stuff. No one's buying snow bibs and that kind of stuff. They already have most likely bought those items back in December or even in November. So February tends to be a little bit of a slower sales time for most people. So I'm looking forward to seeing in March, April, May, when those sales start rolling in from golf clothing, polos, pants, that kind of stuff, because I sell a ton of those items, to see how they do through the springtime and through the summer. If you want to try Depop, I would encourage you to click the link in the description. That takes you to a sign up to create your account and get your items listed right away. Don't just stick to those styles and those brands that everyone talks about sells well on Depop. I would encourage you to list your whole store. Like I mentioned earlier, I've had all sorts of styles and items sell on Depop that weren't just those vintage baggy Y2K stuff. So many other items sell, including shoes as well. So I would encourage you, list those items, list those shoes, list the clothing onto Depop and get the ball rolling. Accept offers as well. One thing I've noticed with selling on Depop, to get it started, I just started accepting offers. Even if they were somewhat low balls, I still just accepted them because I wanted to get the sales rolling. I wanted to get into the algorithm. I wanted to get sales going on Depop, and it worked. I have gotten tons of sales now, made over $1,000 just in 3 months. So get on Depop, try it out, click the link in my description. If you have any questions about Depop, selling on Depop, how to sign up, please comment on this video. I would be glad to help. I will see every comment and I will reply. So make sure you're doing that if you have any questions. And stay tuned for our next video. I'm going to be breaking down how shipping works on Depop and also all the other platforms, how to ship, and pointers and tips. So you don't want to miss that. That will be next week. We'll see you then.